she slits the dog's throat in front of him and was like, that's what's going to happen to you if you ever cheat on me. And then she knocks him in the head with a pan and puts the baby on the train tracks. Hung his skin from, like, you know, those little hooks that they use on animals, and real, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of scenery. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Chi-Chi and I am so excited today. So, finally I am doing the blovesmackalicious sauce. I have never had this before because unfortunately I missed out on the spicy one, but this is the mild one that I got. Now, you don't have to use the whole packet or anything like that. Actually, I only used probably like a half a cup of the seasoning and it made all of this. So, what I have today, I have a great big seafood boil. No, I'm not going to eat all of this. And I will be doing a true crime. So, I have garlic bread, I have potatoes, sausages, mussels, cucumbers, corn, crawfish, and crab legs. And yes, I am starving because I have not. Let me just shut up and eat it first and see what it's like. Oh, where's my towel? I tasted it while I was making it. I was pretty like drunk, so I forgot to put like the broth in it, Tabasco sauce, vinegar that she said to put in there, and a whole lot of other stuff. So I basically just made the seasoning with the onions and the butter, and I was like, this tastes like spaghetti sauce. So I will see how it tastes now, and then I'll tell you guys how I made this. Oh my god, so a lot of flavors. Oh, there it goes. And it's spicy. This is good. I had to, wait a second. You gotta let the flavors go in. And this is how I like it. More vinegary. Okay. Goodness gracious, damn that's good. Oh, hot. See that? Oh, my lobster. Ooh! It has. So what I put in this, I put the seasoning, of course, and then what she says to put on the back of the package. I put butter. Well, I can't believe it's not butter. I used a whole onion. I used a lot of ginger because I like ginger and garlic and onions. And then I put water instead of chicken broth and Coke. Oh, now it's getting spicy. And then I put vinegar in it, right? But also, I added the, it's like called Cimbal or something like that, chili paste, because one video I seen before when she made it, she put that chili paste stuff in there. And I put Coke, of course. And oh, Tabasco sauce and that other kind of hot sauce, Frank's or something. Frank's extra hot. Because I like my food super spicy. Which, all of that, it's not spicy enough, so she said you could put some of this in there. So I'm going to add some of that. This is my first time tasting this too. I cooked it and it been marinating for 2 days. So it's like all those flavors in there. I like the garlic the most. And this is actually a pretty good deal. Because I paid, what, 24, 25 bucks for that? And I didn't use the whole package. I only used like a cup of it. I know when she came out with the spicy. Mm. Oh. When she came out with the spicy, everybody was complaining. Oh, well, you gotta make the whole sauce packet. People, we're all grown. Let's use some common sense here. If you buy a damn whole thing of sugar, if you don't use the whole thing of sugar, you're not just gonna throw it away. No, you store it in a container. That's what you do. Just store it away, whatever you don't use. It's that easy. Oh yeah, this shit is good. I like it. At first, when I tasted it while I was drunk, before I put anything in it, I could see why some people would say it tastes like spaghetti sauce, because you get a strong taste of oregano. But I like oregano. And then after you add the other stuff, it kind of balances everything out. But you just gotta make it how you like it. If you like it more vinegary, make it more vinegary. I want it spicy, so I put a whole lot of spicy stuff in here. Okay, today, also, I'm gonna be doing a true crime. What do you guys like more better on your thing? Lemon or lime? I prefer lime. I don't know why. I bought this towel especially for my seafood boils. Usually when I do seafood boils, I do a true crime story. Unless I'm doing a collab. Look at that. I'm so far back. There's so much food here, I had to buy this tablecloth thing and then dump it. Oh, I almost forgot. Look at this. So I went and got my plant for my setup, right? And look at that. My succulent bloomed to flower. I've had this for 3 years and it has never bloomed to flower. It just did today. Okay. What I'm doing a story on today is, her name is Catherine Knight. Crazy ass lady. Oh, there they go. Oh, I want some sausage. She was born in October 1955, the 24th of October. So I think she's like a Scorpio. Go figure. Now, I'm just going to tell a little bit about like her backstory. Catherine's mom's name is Barbara. Was married to a guy named Jack. Jack has a friend named Ken Knight. Barbara starts cheating on Jack with Ken and ends up having Catherine Knight. So, where they're from, they live in a town called Aberdeen. It's like a super small town. There's like a coal mine there, a couple of trains, 2 pubs, real like Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of scenery, if you could imagine that. So, Catherine's mom, Barbara, she ends up having an affair with Jack's friend. Then she ends up getting pregnant. Since it was like such a small town, they ended up moving to another town over because, it was like a big, huge scandal. Like, oh, Barbara was cheating on her husband with the husband's friend and got pregnant and ran off. So they moved to the next town over. Ooh, look at that. He's an alcoholic. He would get drunk and rape Barbara at least 10 times a day. Ooh, look at all of that. Oh, lemon. Now, for whatever reason, Barbara would tell Catherine and her twin sisters what the dad was doing to her. And how much she hated men, how much she hated having sex with the men, stuff like that. Pretty much their family dynamic is just like all screwed up, So there's one time, Catherine, she's a teenager, she tells her mom like, oh, this guy was trying to do something to me. Instead of doing what a normal mother does, her mom is like, oh, whatever, who cares? Stop complaining about it, suck it up, and deal with it. So Catherine was like, pretty tough. She kind of had no choice but to be. Even like men in her family would assault her, like sexually, and the mom didn't care. She wouldn't do anything about it or anything. She really didn't care much. See that? Oh, my lobster. Ooh, it has eggs and stuff in it. She tells her, like, oh, whatever that happened, just shut up, deal with it. Blah, blah, blah. So, Catherine, she was like a bully in school. She would bully people smaller than her. And one day, she ended up fighting the teacher, and the teacher whooped her ass. Because, Catherine, she's over there trying to bully everybody, pretty much. But the teacher wasn't going for that. Teacher put them paws on her. So, little later down the line, when she was about 15, she ends up dropping out. And she goes and she gets a job. After she gets a job, she ends up getting fired from there. And then she starts working as a butcher. In a slaughterhouse. Which that job she absolutely loved. Like, she moved up at that job pretty quickly. That's how much she loved it. when she was at that job, she ends up meeting her husband, David Kettle. Now, David, he was a alcoholic. He turned into an alcoholic like after his best friend ended up getting killed, and after an incident where there was like all these little kids on a school bus, and the bus had got hit by the train. So when the bus had got hit by the train, he was like helping save all the kids on the bus. And 6 of them ended up dying. So after that, he was just all screwed up. And he would drink. Catherine would drink. If David is fighting, Catherine is most definitely jumping in, putting the paws on people. She was wild. She was rough. So, God, this lobster is so, shell is so hard there. So they end up getting married. Now, on the wedding day, both of them come up to the wedding completely plastered. And, you know, Catherine's mom tried to warn David. She was like to David Kettle, like, you know, you better be careful with her. Because if you mess around on her, or cheat on her or anything, she will kill you. But yeah, she warned him, like, you know, she will kill you. Like, there's something wrong with that girl. Like, she's got a few loose screws in her head. There it goes. The blade. So, they end up getting married. On that night that they get married, damn Catherine, she gets mad because, you know how, her dad used to rape the mom like 10 times a day. She wanted David to have sex with her up to 10 times on that night. David, he was so drunk, he ends up passing out after, look at that. He's so drunk, he ends up passing out after 3 goes. And, well, Catherine wasn't having that. She's like, oh, you want to give up after 3 tries? She strangled him. Just strangled him down. Needless to say, that night he got his act together real quickly. So, pretty much after that incident, well, she ends up pregnant. There was another incident. She gets all mad because he's at a tournament thing for darts. He was winning the tournament, you know, so he ends up coming home a little late because he won the tournament. She got pissed off. She burns his shoes and clothes. She hits him in the head with a frying pan. And David, he ended up running to the neighbors. And when he gets to the neighbor's house, he collapses, you know, in their yard or whatever. They call the ambulance. He ends up going to the hospital. He has severe skull fractures from her beating him over the head with the frying pan. He ends up pressing charges against her. Catherine convinces him to, you know, get rid of the charges. So, she convinces him to drop the charges. He does. She begs him to come back home. He comes back home. And after he comes home, their baby is born. She drops the charges. After that, they end up, you know, having the baby. David is pretty much sick of her BS. So he ends up leaving her. Leaving with another woman. It is so sweet, the meat inside of these legs. He left her for another woman. Then, after that, Catherine, people see her with the baby stroller, pushing the baby down the street, like this, side to side, jamming the baby, just crazy and reckless. She's going bonkers. So they end up calling the police on her. The police take her, arrest her. They put her in the hospital. After they put her in the hospital, you know, she's charged. They treat her, not charged, she's treated for postpartum depression. Then when she got out of the hospital, this crazy lady, once she got out of the hospital, you know, she's still pissed off because David left her. So she takes their baby and puts the baby on the train tracks. And then leaves the baby there. Runs into town. She has a freaking axe in her hand. Running around like a crazy person. Trying to, you know, axe people with it. Trying to hit them with it. So they end up calling the police on her again. The police take her, and then they put her in a psychiatric hospital. Now, meanwhile, while all this is going on, the baby is being rescued off the train tracks by a guy that just so happened to be over there and found her. Now, he took her off the tracks like minutes before the train was going to come. If he would have never came, the baby would have definitely got hit by that train. Or if he didn't happen to be there. Now, Catherine, when they took her to the hospital after she was running through the streets crazy, trying to attack people with the axe, and leaving her baby on the train tracks, she checked herself out of the hospital. Now, when she checked herself out of the hospital, she goes, this is the same exact day too. That's the other crazy part about it. This is all in the same day. She checks herself out of the hospital. Then, excuse me, sorry for the noise. Okay, so when she checks herself out of the hospital, she goes to his car, slashes her face. She's forcing her to go find her husband, David. Which, I don't even think this woman knew who David was, you know? So, they're driving to the next town to go find David. She tells the woman to stop at a service station. So the lady stops at the service station. Then the lady's like, forget this, and she hops out the car and, you know, takes off. The reason why, and then, you know, they end up calling the police. When they call the police, by the time the police get there, Catherine has a young boy at knife point, threatening to kill him. She didn't even know this boy either. So, the police end up arresting her again. This is all in the same day, mind you. They end up arresting her again. Now, when they arrest her again, she's telling them, oh, well, I was going to kill the man at the service station that we stopped at because he fixed David's car. And because he fixed David's car, David was able to drive off and leave me. So now the man at the service station has to die, David has to die, and David's mom has to die. So pretty much she was going to go kill the man, then kill David, and then kill David's mom. The police, they go, you know, they track down David. They tell David what is going on. So David and his mother move back to Aberdeen. And they wait for Catherine to get released from the mental institution. So, you know, they could take care of her. This is just a hot mess. So they could take care of her, you know? So finally, after Catherine is released, you know, when she's released, she is released to, you know, David and David's mom, you know. So after they release her, they move to the town of Woodbridge. It's a town near there, you know, I guess to get like a fresh start and everything like that. So they go there. What else do I want? I want some more mussels. Did I eat that lobster tail? I think I did. So they go to the next town over. Everything is fine for a little bit. I guess as good as it's going to get with Catherine. Because Catherine is a nut job. This sauce is so good. I wonder... I don't know. This is a good recipe that she came up with. And the fact that you can eat so many different things with it was like incredible. Then after all that nonsense happened, after all she's doing trying to kill him because he left her and stuff, after they have their daughter, their second child, she takes off and leaves him and goes back to Aberdeen. Another thing about Catherine, this is a fun fact. She has a thing with dating people with the same exact name. Because the next guy that she dates, his name is David Sanders. So, after she gets with, after she leaves David Kettle, she gets with David Sanders. After a few months, you know, of them dating, she's asking him to move in with her and her two daughters. So, you know, he does. But when she's living with him, she's always so jealous. She wants to know what he's doing at all times, if she's at work. Even if he isn't doing nothing, she's still acting up, acting a fool, because she just can't help herself. So, you know, when she would kick him out, because even though they moved in together, see, he was smart. He knew her ass was crazy because everybody in that town knows that she's crazy. It's a small town. We can't forget that fact. But when she would, goodness gracious, when she would put him out, of course, he's not going to just be hanging around her porch. He'll go back to his place. Then she'll chase him down and be mad that he went back to his place. So one day, they're arguing. She snatches up his dog. She slits the dog's throat in front of him and was like, that's what's going to happen to you if you ever cheat on me. And then she knocks him in the head with a pan. All this going on. This fool, David Saunders, no, he ends up having a kid with her, you know. So, since they had a kid together, he's trying to do what's right by her and stuff. So, he goes ahead. He gets a house for them. Stuff like that. You know, they move into the house. You know, when she has this house, this woman, she has the house decorated from wall to wall with like skulls, animal skin, you know how people do taxidermy and they stuff the birds and stuff like that, animals like that, all types of stuff. So I mean, they got pitchforks all over the place. This woman was just a mess. Ew. I gotta get the vein out. There it goes. Pretty much just like dwindling down to the end of their relationship, you know, because he's getting fed up with her and he's tired of getting abused, you know, like anybody would be. Like one argument that they got into, she takes the iron and she hits him in the face with it. And then she grabs the scissors and she stabs him in the stomach with it. And he's just like, okay, I've had enough of this whore. So he decides to move on. Then later he comes back because, you know, same old, same old. She's begging for him to come back and all this other nonsense. So he comes back because, you know, they got a kid together. But when he comes back, he realizes that she done chopped up all his clothes and she done cut everything up. So what he does, he wised up and took the hell off and went into hiding. Which Catherine did not like one bit. So since she couldn't find him, but she ends up doing, like, calling the police, telling the police that he abused her, putting a restraining order against him. And then finally, when he comes back, like, you know, I want to see my kid, she's like, no, you know, you can't. Restraining order against you. So they just ended up stopped dealing with each other. And at this time, you know, she met a guy, John Chillingsworth. She also met him at work. And shortly after they met, they had a baby. And he left up because she pretty much just was cheating on him with John Price. And she left him. She left John Chillingsworth for John Price. Now, her and John Price, they started dating in, they were dating for like 5 years. They got together in like 1995. Both of them, they just like everybody else there. They like to turn up, they like to drink, blah, blah, blah. Woo. And these two, you know, he was like rough like her too. They'd be out there fighting people, all types of foolishness. Because Catherine, she was ratchet. Very jealous. But badass tempered. So, you know, it's the same old with her. She's abusing him like she abused everybody else. They're normally just fighting. He'll try to leave her. She'll beg for him back. Like, one time he tried to leave her. And she gets mad because he wouldn't come back. So she took a video of a first aid kit, and then she sent it to his job, you know, trying to imply that he stole it from the work. But it was because he worked as a coal miner. But actually what it was a damn expired first aid kit. But It was expired. They were throwing it out, so he didn't steal it, you know. He was free to take it. He worked there. He worked at that coal mine for like 17 years, and she got him fired because of that. So because of that, he left her for 3 months. And eventually, they ended up getting back together. And all his friends and stuff like that are like, you know, like, dude, what are you doing? Why are you back with her, you know? And they were all pissed off about it, you know? But he ended up just staying with her still. So, after that, and they're back together for a little while, he starts, you know, telling people, like, the things that she's doing to him. Like, he called the police on her, trying to get the police to make her leave his house because she had her own house. And he lived there. John Price, he lived there with himself and his kids. He didn't want her crazy self around him or his kids anymore. Police, like, no, we can't put her out. You know, you gotta go to court and get a paper saying that, you know, she can't be in your house. So, you know, he's trying to do that. Oh, I'm so full. But 3 days before the incident, he wakes up. She's like this with something behind her back. He's like, you know, like, what the hell? So he's telling his friends, like, oh, I woke up and she's hovering over me, but her arms behind her back. He thought she had a butcher knife, you know, because she's a butcher. She's skinning animals. She's killing them. She loves doing that. It doesn't bother her one bit. So when he goes into work, he tells his boss, like, yeah, you know, what happened? I wake up, she has the knife or something behind her back. She scared the hell out of me. I thought she was going to kill me. And his boss is like, you know, because he's known him for a long time, like, damn, bro, like, I ain't never seen you like this. Like, this woman is psycho. You need to get away from her. She actually had called the police on him, you know, saying that he's being violent towards her. So John Price, he goes to the magistrate and is like telling the magistrate what's going on, you know, like, this woman is crazy, she's hovering over me with knives, she's abusive, you know, I want a restraining order against her, all this other stuff. But even though a restraining order, they keep going around each other, you know. Later on that night, you know, he goes home. John Price, he's like, you know, something is wrong, and he's over at his neighbor's house drinking with him, like, some beers or whatever. And he's telling his neighbor, like, I think she's going to try to do something to me. And he told him, if you wake up in the morning and you still see my truck outside, you know, his work truck, if you wake up in the morning and you still see my work truck outside, call the police, because she done me in. So his neighbor is like, his friend that lived across the street is like, you know, don't go over there, and, you know, just stay the night over here or somewhere else. And he's like, no, because I don't want her to do anything to my children, blah, blah, blah. But at this time, he didn't know that she had sent the kids, you know, to go stay at somebody else's house. So he goes home. She comes there. She comes into the house or whatever. She watches, like, some Star Trek or some bullshit. She takes a shower. They have sex or whatever. And then after that, when he falls asleep, she, like, starts stabbing him. Now, after she's stabbing him, he gets out the bed, and you could see where he's, like, running down the hall trying to get out the house. And you could see, like, because you could see his handprint, like, on the light switch, like he tried to turn on the light. You could see him where he was running down the hall and started coughing at blood, because it's like blood spatter on the wall everywhere. And then you could see, like, the blood, like, a little bit in the bedroom, then in the hall, all the stuff on the walls, blood from him coughing up on the walls. And then you could see, like, going through the house, like, how he kind of just, like, started falling, like, lower and lower, you know. So this is where it gets crazy. So after she killed him, the police go over in the morning time. They knock on the door. Nobody answers the door. So they peek through like the little mail peeker thing or whatever where you could drop mail through. They peek through there and they see like a sheet or something like hanging from the ceiling. So they go around the back door because the guy across, his friend across the street, actually the one who called the police. So they go through the back door and, you know, break up in there, and they see like, you know, the thing, sheet looking thing hanging from the ceiling. And one of the officers, he's like, after he passed it, he could feel like blood on his arm. He thought, you know, he cut himself going through the back door. So he's like, oh, okay. And then they just keep walking, and then they see like blood everywhere. Come to find out, the thing that is hanging from the ceiling, it's not a sheet. It's actually his skin. She cut off his genitalia. She cut off his head. She cut off his arms. She skinned his body, hung his skin from like, you know, those little hooks that they use on animals in slaughterhouses. She hung his body from that. She put his head in the pot on the stove, cooking with some roasted vegetables and stuff like that. Like she was making a stew with his head in it. And then when you look, there she has like his arm on the table, and then there's a soda, and then she like set his bottom part of his body, like his legs and stuff, with his legs crossed. And what else did this crazy hoe do? Oh, she cut off his butt. And when she cut it off, she cut him up into 5 like little steaks and cooked them, and then put them on a plate with like roasted vegetables and stuff. And she had 1 plate for his daughter and 1 plate for his son for when they came home. She put like the little name tags there. Now she was trying to say that she also wrote a note saying that basically she did that to pay them back for what they did. She was trying to claim that John raped her daughter, and that, I don't know, some other crazy stuff she said about the girl. Hold on, let me look this up real quick. What does she say to that lady? Oh, here we go. Oh, this is the note that she wrote. She said, "Time got you back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter." But she spells it all wrong because she's illiterate. She can't read or write. And then she said, "You too, Beck." That's John Price's daughter. She said, "For Ross." And she said, "For little John." So she was trying to say that John Price raped her daughter. She was trying to say that Rebecca did something to Ross and little John. And then she says, "For little John," which is John Price's son, she says, "Now play with little John's dick, John Price." Bitch is crazy. But anyways, so yeah, so she puts the food on the plate, leaves that note, and they think that she tried to eat the 5th steak because she had 2 on each plate, and then there was 1 that was thrown in the backyard. They think that she tried to eat that one, but like, you know, started getting sick while she was trying to eat it, and then just throw it out the door. And when they found her, she was like all drugged up on all these pain pills that she had freaking taken. So she was in the hospital for like days, and then after that she ends up going to jail for his murder. And they took her to trial and everything like that, and I believe she was the first woman in Australia to ever get life without the possibility of parole. Which I think they're pretty lenient over there with their laws, because I watch a lot of true crime, and I mean, come on, this woman is over here putting babies on train tracks. She's slashing women's faces, kidnapping them, trying to kill people at gas stations, like trying to kill little strange little boys that she doesn't even know. Like, this bitch is crazy. You're busting everybody in the head with frying pans and all types of stuff. and you don't go to jail for none of this. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you were in America, she would have been down the road. So pretty much, yeah, they gave her like life without parole or whatever. Like, and when she would be in court, she would, like, during her trial, she'll be in there having outbursts and stuff like that, because she claims that she doesn't remember anything that happened. But also she's saying, yeah, I did kill him, but I killed him because, you know, he was abusive to me. But everybody knows that she is the that she is the abuser. Like, everybody in this whole entire town knows that she is the abusive one. She's the only one who doesn't know that she's the abusive one. Even her mother knows that she's crazy. But yeah, she got life without parole, and yeah, pretty much that is it. She is the female Hannibal Lecter, if you have never heard of her. Yep, and that is it. This was so good. I'm actually full, but I'll probably be hungry, I would say maybe like in 35. No, maybe about an hour or two, because it's seafood. When you eat a lot of seafood, a little bit later you get hungry again. You know, you're not just eating seafood and you're full all day like when you eat meat or something. You know? But don't worry, I'm not throwing none of this away. I always save my seafood. I freeze it, and then I use it for another boil. So yeah, I think the only thing in this that I got new was no, all of this is new. I got the lobster, which the lobster is good. A lot of people don't know, at the end of the lobster, there's a lot of meat down there. At the end of it, right here, at the end of the tail, there's meat in this, there's meat in the head, there's meat in these arms, and there is even meat on these little fin things right here, which a lot of people do not know that. See me? How I found out. I was trying to order that. I was looking at that big, huge lobster that B-Love always gets. Larry the Lobster or whatever. And I just so happened to see, like, information on lobsters on the website. Like, oh, if you want to know about lobsters. So I'm like, hell yeah, I want to know about lobsters. So I started reading, and then I started researching all about lobsters, and then, I don't know, I just know a whole lot about lobsters now. Like, I even know how to tell which one is a male or a female. Let me see. Like, this one is a male. How you could tell the male from the female. The male, their thing right here in the middle, it goes up like this, right? Because you know how a penis is straight. Theirs goes up like this. The females, it crosses. So that's how you could tell the male from the female lobster. Yeah. It's crazy how much I research about food before I eat it. I can't just eat food. I gotta research about it. It's crazy. I'm weird. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. And if you like this video and you're new to this channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys next video. Bye.